So thank you for coming today. I am not here to plug my podcast. In fact, I won't even give the name. But what happened on the podcast is the reason I am here. Because we look at polling of what people are interested in. You talk to folks, you go to town hall meetings, what they're interested in. And I have been overwhelmed of the response that I received from an interview with Bonnie Wallace, who you're going to meet in a moment. On my podcast, the highest number of views I've ever had were 530,000 to a Dr. Phil interview. That's a lot. I've only been doing this 7 weeks. But that's in part because the way podcasts work sometimes, you get someone on who has their own podcast, and they promote to them, and it cross-promotes, and that's kind of sometimes how it works, particularly with people with a famous name. But last week, Bonnie Wallace was my guest. She doesn't have a podcast. She doesn't have a social media footprint that's large. There was no cross-promotion. It was simply organic. And as of this morning, over 625,000 Texans have viewed the content of that podcast. That is as extraordinary as you can get. That means people read it and shared it around and had other people watch. What was it all about? It's about the dirty, filthy, and vulgar books in our school libraries. Last session, we passed Senate Bill 13 by Angela Paxton that would remove these books. These are books that are so disgusting, so filthy, so dirty, so vulgar, so pornographic, that for the ladies here, I wouldn't even open it and show you. I wouldn't show my wife. I didn't show the female senators last session. I had the books to hand out. We passed the bill, but I did it without, if someone wanted to take the book for themselves, and I'm going to give you a copy, everyone here. You can decide not to look at it, or you can. And if you're offended, understand these books are on our library shelves. Many books are on our library shelves in all of our schools. Over 2,000 titles of filthy, dirty, vulgar books. So when I talked to Bonnie Wallace about it in the interview, it just took off. And I said, parents want to know about this, and the purpose of this press conference today is to get parents in action to get these books removed. Senate Bill 13 says they should be removed, but what we're finding out is about 80% of the school districts have not done anything. And some school districts push back even when they're told about the books they have. Some superintendents don't know what's on the shelves. Teachers don't know what's on the shelves. The librarians know. The librarians are the ones responsible. The American Association of Librarians is one of the most leftist, woke groups in America. They train our librarians, and they think these are just fine. And I can assure you that, and I can't always be positive about everything in life, but I would say 90% plus of parents or grandparents would not want their children seeing any of these books. Bonnie Wallace, how did I meet her? I was in Llano, Texas, where she lives, several years ago, and I was actually doing an interview, and this lady comes literally like bursting in the door with a friend and says, Dan Patrick, I heard you were in town, and I have to come and tell you what's going on. And what was going on is she found inappropriate books in the public library, and she wanted them removed or relocated to the adult section. Many were in the children's section. She was sued for that, but she prevailed and won in court. And I want to make one statement very clear here when you write your articles and you show this on broadcast, an important statement. We're not banning books. There are no books banned in America. You can buy any book you want to buy if you want it. And many you can find in public libraries, whatever this topic may be. We don't ban books in America. But we do not take taxpayer money and buy these books for our schools. So taking the books out of our schools is not banning the books. We're taking out of our schools because that's what Senate Bill 13 says, and that's what parents want. And obviously, when 600,000 people only in 6 days watch a broadcast or a podcast, it tells you the parents want this to be done. Bonnie, come up. This is Bonnie Wallace. So Bonnie, I've told how we met. It was kind of a miracle how we met, and we've continued to work. You worked on these bills, helped us write these bills. So let's talk about, I want to go with one sample book, because these books are in elementary schools, middle schools, high schools. This is Do Animals Fall in Love? Do animals fall in love? Don't know if they do, don't know if they don't. Mamas seem to care for their young. But this book measures the penis size of 80 animals. Now, I've got 8 grandkids. No one ever asked me of my grandkids about that. It is, and I'm not going to open it. I'm not going to show you, because I'll be accused of, well, he's just trying to get clicks, or he's trying to get people to watch. He's sensationalizing this issue. Parents can go on, and we'll give you the websites, go on and see these books for themselves in their own privacy. So I'm not going to show you. Anyone up here can, in the media, can come up and look at it after. But this book, let's talk about it, is probably, Bonnie, one of the most popular books?
Yes, it's a book I talk about a lot, and one thing that I want to tell you guys, this book won the 2022 Great Graphic Novel of the Year for 12-year-old children. And it was the first book I ever found with a disclaimer on the publisher's page. It's published by Random House Children's Books. And it says, the authors and publisher disclaim responsibility for any adverse effects which may result from the use or application of information contained in this book. That's kind of interesting. Why would a book for children, 12-year-old children, need a disclaimer? It's not the only book with a disclaimer I've found. I've found a dozen since then, but this was the first one, so I usually highlight that one. The book on page 118 tells children to try sex toys. 12-year-old children, we don't need to be experimenting with sex toys. Also, on page 164, it tells on page 164 it tells children that the safe place to research kinks and fantasies is the internet. And it says, go follow your favorite porn performer, go to the sites they recommend, and pay for your porn. So we're getting into the ideology behind this book. They want lifelong consumers of their products. That's the only thing that I can surmise. But we're giving you guys each a copy so y'all can look at it yourselves, and you can, I hope you cite these things, because this book is in, I believe, 15 school districts, multiple campuses at most districts, but it is the best book of the year for 2022 that the American Library Association could give. That's concerning. It goes back to what the Lieutenant Governor was saying about the American Library Association. They're not friends of children. We have many more books that we could talk about.
And we're going to talk about some.
Yes.
So, Bonnie, how many school districts have you gone to testify?
I have spoken at 164 school districts, some in Texas, most in Texas, but some others also states.
One escorted you out?
3 escorted me out. 1 escorted me out with 3 police officers recently. Many cut my mic because they don't want to hear the content. Listen, I don't blame them. The content is very shocking and alarming. But if me, an adult, cannot read it to adult school board members, who's going to protect the children?
So let's really reframe that. The school boards are angry with her because she comes to read a passage, out of a book that's on their shelves. So they clip her mics, make her feel very uncomfortable, and cut her time, or have the police come and take her out of the school district or out of the school board meeting. So how can we possibly have a book on a school shelf in elementary, middle, and high school that an adult can't come and read a section of it to the school board? Now, some school boards pay attention once they're made aware, and they take action. That's the minority of school districts that do that. Lubbock tonight, for example, talk about Lubbock School.
Yes, so tonight Lubbock has a special called school board meeting. My group there has challenged 150 books. Lubbock has removed 10. 150 books just like this, and they've removed 10, and they're very proud that they're keeping 140. Now, that's not the last say. These will then go up to the TEA, but it's how many children have to look at the book in the interim from the time that it's discovered in a campus and the time that it's finally removed. This is our problem. Listen, I'm not here to shock you. I'm here because God has given me the perfect, clear vision that I'm supposed to, if any of you Christians in here, Ephesians 5:11 says, have nothing to do with the evil deeds of darkness, but expose them. So I need to expose the darkness so that schools can remove it.
And let me tell you how bad it gets. By the way, again, ladies, I don't want to offend anyone, or gentlemen, does anyone want to take a look at the book as we go through this, so you have a sense of what we're really talking about?
If you don't look at the book, you really don't understand what's in it.
Right.
And it's you know, this ideology that we're banning books. Again, you can buy any book you want in America. There's not a single book that's banned, but I encourage all of you, we
Here,
brought...
stand over at the mic.
Yes, we brought copies for each of you, because if you do not see the content, you cannot understand, literally. I am with you, because I didn't understand either in the very beginning. People were telling me, you know, harmful stuff. Wow, it's beyond harmful stuff.
Let's start
Not
with
yet.
this. So, not only age inappropriate, filthy, dirty, and vulgar, they're also violent rape scenes in books. Books, by the way, want to turn them even, that are banned from being in our prisons. These books are not allowed in our prisons, but they're on our school shelves. Let's talk about Boy Toy. Bonnie, stand back to the mic.
Yeah, so Boy Toy is very, very concerning. It's about a 12-year-old boy who on the first day of 6th grade begins getting groomed by his teacher. And through the series of the year, they are very quickly having graphic sex and things I can't probably read to you, but it is, that book is in so many schools here in Texas, so many ISDs. It glamorizes and trivializes sex with your teachers. Has anybody noticed that we have a crisis in Texas? Every week there is a new teacher being accused of having sex with their student. This is a 12-year-old little boy in this book. And it is very glamorized. In fact, in one section, the teacher tells the boy after they've had sex, "Oh, honey, go get the answers to tomorrow's tests out of my briefcase. I don't want you falling behind." We all have a fully mature adult brains, but a 12-year-old, when they're reading this, this is also a book for 12-year-olds. And the reason it's on the prison list is because it has molestation in it. But a 12-year-old boy doesn't have discernment like we do when we hear these things. And so what are we allowing to be planted into the minds of the students? This is my purpose.
The next book, Bonnie, talk about Crank.
Yeah, Crank is
Also on the prison ban list.
because of a rape and violent sex in it. It's about a 14-year-old girl. It's also for 12 and up, ages 12 and up. It's about a young girl who becomes introduced to crack cocaine, which they call crank, and she goes off the cliff. In order to pay for her crank, she has to start prostituting herself. And so this book is in, I think, 217 school districts in Texas. When I say district, you have to keep in mind many districts have more than one high school, more than one junior high. These books are for 12 and up. Bad news.
And then the third book, Push.
Push, the book Push was made into a movie called Precious. Some of you may know it. In order to be made into the movie, the book, 75% of the graphic sex in the book was deleted for the movie. and this is documented. This book is about a little girl who at age 5, her father started molesting her. She had 2 children by her father by the time she was 14. It's a very sordid but very, very graphic novel. And I don't remember how many schools it's in, but I think it's 119, not schools, school districts. And so, listen, our children are in crisis. They need nurturing for their minds. They need positive, encouraging content. Why are we filling their minds with dark, demonic content?
So again, I will give each of you a copy of the book. It's up to you if you want to read it or not, or look at it or not. As Lieutenant Governor, I've had to go to some pretty horrific scenes over tragedies that have happened. As reporters, not necessarily those who cover the Capitol beat, but reporters have to go to some pretty graphic scenes and see things they don't want to see so that they can accurately report on them. I don't think you can accurately report on this unless you open this book, just this one book. It will shock you. And this is just one of 2,000 titles, 2,179 titles?
98.
2,198 different titles. Now, what is this really all about? This is clearly another step in a push, in my view, by the left that wants to disrupt our families. Whether it's boys playing girls sports, whether it's these books in the library, this is one more attempt to undermine the families. Who would approve of these books? Again, many superintendents, Bonnie, you told me, the superintendent said, I didn't know they were there. And some have taken action.
Correct.
And removed the books. Others have not. It is going to be my focus moving forward to make sure these books are gone from our schools. 600,000 people have viewed the interview I did with her, telling me that they were shocked because we went into much more detail than we went in here. We didn't get graphic, we didn't show anything, but we told the story in about 40 minutes that we don't have time here, or that you can even report on the story or show a story that long. School districts, be aware. Next session, if these books are not off the shelf, we will pass a law that will knock your grade letter down 1. So if you're an A school, you'll be a B. If you're a B, you'll be a C. If you're a C, you'll be a D. And an F, you can't go much lower than that to begin with. Maybe that's why you have an F school, if this is what's in your library. We also can look at potential budget issues. We are not going to have this filth and vulgarity and violence of graphic scenes of rape, of stories of teachers and students having a sexual affair, and it's in our school libraries. So we're going to put an end to this. I am disappointed that after we passed Senate Bill 13 last year, that the school districts, so many of them, are ignoring the law. It's the law, Mr. Superintendent, Mr. or Mrs. Librarian. It's the law. And we expect you to follow the law. So we're coming for the books. We ask that you do it on your own and remove these books. Look at the catalog of titles you have, Mr. Superintendent, or the principal. Look at what's in your libraries. Don't bury your head in the sand and say, I didn't know. Maybe you didn't know. Today, you know. Today, you know. We're not going to undermine the families. We're not going to put this filth in the minds of some elementary schools, but middle and high schoolers. The action plan. Anyone watching, parents watching, grandparents watching, you can go to recoveramerica.com. And Bonnie, on recoveramerica.com, tell them what they'll find.
Yes, if you go on Recover America, you can click on, I'm the legislative liaison for Recover America. You can click on a link right there to email me. You can also download my dirty book list, 2,198 books. And so parents that are watching, you can download it, you can take it to your school, and you can begin fighting back. You can begin standing up to get this stuff taken out of the schools. I'll help you.
Yeah. The other website is takebacktheclassroom.com, takebacktheclassroom.com, and on that
Yes.
website?
So Take Back the Classroom is from Tennessee, the originator, but she has every single state in the union there on her website. You can click on Texas, then you can click on the school district that you reside in and you're paying taxes for, and you can find the list of books and pictures. It's like the front cover of each book. You can find it on the website so you know what it looks like, and you can begin. There's forms and help for how to challenge books. Listen, you're not alone. We're here to help, but what we don't want is taxpayer funds going to not one more penny going to this type of content.
Yeah. This is not what our school taxes were designed to pay. Ladies, again, I'm going to leave the books here because I don't want to offend anyone. If you choose to take it, it's your choice, and Ben as well. The books are here for you to take. I think it will help you in telling your story and understanding. Any questions? We'll start. Ladies first.
Thank you. I read through Senate Bill 13 and steps that it takes.
Yes.
Are you saying with this that your opinion, the legislature's opinion, the conservatives' opinion is going to supersede the process that school boards take when they review these books?
Yeah. I'm saying to you that we passed a law to remove filthy, dirty, and vulgar books from our schools. I have a responsibility as Lieutenant Governor. The senators have a responsibility. The House members have a responsibility to be sure that we are not undermining the family unit. These are books that parents and grandparents would never want their children to read. Again, 90%, there may be some parents who say, oh, it's fine. Well, they can buy the books on their own at a bookstore or go to a public library. But we're in charge here of school funding. It is the biggest part of our school budget, of our state budget. I had Mike Morath in an interview the other day, and we spend $90 billion a year on public education. On public education. We have a responsibility to be sure that what we are using those tax dollars for is what they would expect us to use it for. They do not expect us to do this. And again, some of these titles have already been taken out of our prisons or not allowed. That's how bad they are. So, and we're not banning books. We're saying they should not be in our schools. Next question. You were next.
You talked about wanting to drop the letter grade down at the
Yes.
schools or so.
Yes.
Would one of these books being on the shelves in one classroom, would that be enough to then drop the letter grade?
If this was the one book on the shelf, you bet you. You bet you. It would. If I could show this to the cameras, the audience would be shocked. I'm not going to do that. You can look at it. You can report it. And I'll ask you the question. If this one book was on the shelf and your child, I don't know if you have children or not, if your child got a hold of this book, would you want that school to get an A? I don't think so. Yes, ma'am.
I was hoping to jump off that question.
Yes.
When you talk about, not from schools down the letter grade.
Yes.
Is there like a definition or a specific list of books you're speaking to? Is it just these books today? Is there a broader list? Is there a definition? What are the criteria for if this?
It's all spelled out in Senate Bill 13. Go back and read Senate Bill 13 of what is allowed and not allowed. And when you say knocking down a letter grade, it's part of the accountability system. It's part of the accountability system. The schools are accountable to their families, to the parents, and to the kids. And look, the teachers, for the most part, don't know about these books. Some do. And they need to take action. I'm sure some have taken action. I'm sure there are some teachers that say, I'm not using this book. I'm not letting the kids in my class go down and read this book. It's really on the school board and the superintendent and the principals to make sure these books are not there. And going back to your question, which is a fair question, would one book? Yes, one book would knock you down the accountability process. If it's a book about boy toy, about a teacher having sex with a student who's 12 years old. That's what that book is about. 12 years old. And in repayment for the sex, he gets the answers to the test. You're damn right. That one book is enough to get you degraded by a letter. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
I was wondering if you could explain how this is different than the Reader Act of 2023.
The Reader Act of 2023 was declared unconstitutional. We didn't like that bill. That's the bill that the House wanted to pass. It was a different speaker. That bill didn't pass, and the author of that bill did the best he could, but we knew it was going to be unconstitutional. I don't waste my time on things that we think are unconstitutional. Senate Bill 13 will stand up, and it is constitutional, and it will stand up in the courts.
Can I
Yes,
say
go ahead.
something?
Yes.
So I wanted to say that Senate Bill 13 specifically says that if a book has content that is profane or indecent, those two words were taken from the FCC. So think about it this way. The FCC monitors network television and radio for anything that is profane or indecent. So you cannot, I guarantee you, you can't read any of the books that we're talking about. You could not read them on network television. You cannot read them on radio. Why are we corrupting the minds of our children? I do have a packet for each of you that'll have some quotes from some of these books. Take a look at it and let me know what you think.
Yes, last question.
You had said earlier that this is part of, I think you said, leftist plan to
Yeah.
undermine the
Yes.
campaign. Can you elaborate on, I understand the, more gratuitous stuff, but like, how does a book talking about child molestation further the aims of the left, I guess? Can you expand on that?
I believe that the left, in many positions they take on many issues, undermine the family, the issues that they support. And these books undermine the family. There's the right and there's the left. These are promoted by the same people who want boys to play girls' sports. These are promoted by people who push back against the 10 Commandments being put on our school campuses. They're the ones who sue us. The people on the right, they don't sue us. You know, no one's pushing us from the right to take the 10 Commandment bill back or putting prayer in school. So if you haven't figured out what the leftist agenda is in America yet, you've been sleeping. Thank you very much. There'll be a press packet for everyone, a book if you want it. That is your choice. And I'm tried to be as respectful as I can to all of you, particularly the women here today. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.